Happy Friday and welcome to another Tech Connect Fireside Fridays. This is going to be an interesting one. There's a lot of really exciting stuff going on in Verizon at the moment, and not least of all, of which on the back of having just completed our 2022 Innovation Love Hack, we are moving forward with some really exciting things, including the AWS Game Day next week. Now, I know all of you know all about AWS, but what we have for you today is our resident cloud guru and expert cloud guy, Mr. Brian Murray. So, Brian, I am bringing you in. You are live, and I see you are suitably dressed for the day to talk about all things cloud.
This is how I get out of bed, Padraig, as you know. This is, doubles up as pajamas and work attire.
Yeah. Okay, so first thing I'm going to say is I know that you wear this suit to work every single day. It's also on your LinkedIn profile, and you've shown up today dressed in the cloud suit. It featured recently on Mr. Peter Mitchell's All Hands as well. And I think your comment was that more people were more interested in the suit than your amazing work.
I think the suit is now got its own personality. It probably has its own Slack profile and probably deserves its own LinkedIn profile.
I think so.
And I wouldn't mind. It was bought for. It was purchased as part of one of the back when we were in the office prior to the infamous lockdown that we now all talk about. It was actually purchased for our Halloween event, where we had our fancy dress day. And little did we know, because I was helping with organizing that, and little did we know that the box would then get locked into our office for 2 years. So when people said remove things from the office because we're going into lockdown, I didn't think about taking out the cloud suit. So it's luckily the lockdown sort of punch hasn't impacted it too much. So it still fits, Padraig.
Okay, so the COVID stone hasn't been too bad for you then.
I obviously bought a loose fitting suit when I purchased it in with a bit of visionary thought process there,
Yeah. No, I think you made a purchase that you can safely say is something you'll be known for the rest of your days.
I'm always known for the wrong things, Padraig.
I know, right? Not least of all, which is your sense of humor. So no, I love it. Yeah, look, actually, just on the whole idea of Halloween, I can't wait until we're able to, as part of work forward and hybrid and all that kind of stuff, get back into the office as a group and don our cloud suits and witch outfits and all of that. So I guess that's coming later this year, right?
People are starting to trickle back in. So, we've got our hackathon signs here. You've got your one. I've got my one. So we had our hackathon just finished up there about 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. And, on one of the days we did have 85, 90 people in the office. Now, it's an office in Dublin for 600 people, maybe, So it was still a bit hard to find people when you still have 80 people in a 600 person office, but it was great to see the buzz. We had the infamous supply of pizza, which I think attracted most people in. And, but it was great to see people hacking, people in groups, chatting, getting around the place. There was a little mini buzz, and it was nice to see. So, and, I go into the office every now and again, and, it's still pretty quiet. So it will be nice, when we get, sort of bigger events, get people in on a more regular cadence, and have people in there to it's nice to meet up with people again. So over the last 2 years, I've been on a huge amount of meetings like everybody else, but it's with the same people. So you don't get to really meet. In the office, you'd often bump into Peter, our beloved CEO. You'd meet Mr. Malanfi, you meet Nick. You meet all the leaders and you get to chat to them on the floor, and they're also approachable, so you miss that bit, because I'm not in meetings with Peter Mitchell every day. I know you think I am, but I'm not.
We do think you are.
Yeah. So that, that you definitely, it was nice to get back to that a bit now. So, I'm sure hopefully by Halloween, we'll have a few more people in the office on a regular basis.
Yeah, fingers crossed. You know, I was only talking to the team about this earlier on. Our own team, we you know, some people come in once a week, others are 2-3 times a week, and others are I come in nearly every day, just because I enjoy the office and the screens and the setup. And then again, across engineering, people are coming in once a month, and that works for them. So it's a joy of the hybrid thing. But I don't know about you, but I think a little bit somewhere along the way, we lost a little bit of something. I don't know if it's the magic or the human connection or what it was, but actually, let me ask you a question on that. There was a fairly hefty piece of academic research done recently on Microsoft, on 61,000 Microsoft employees, and the TLDR of the research was that remote and remote work ultimately had allowed businesses, or that business in particular, to return to productivity, number one, and increase productivity really rapidly in the short term. But over the long term, they've concluded that it's hampered innovation and collaboration in particular.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I would agree. Like, there's, I would have spent the first year and a half of lockdown in, like, I'm in Verizon now 4 years. So, 2 years in offices, a few months in Tala, over to the nice new office over in Sandyford with all the bells and whistles in it, which we then swiftly left after about 18 months. So I spent the first 2 years, in office with the teams, meeting people, working with people, whiteboards, walls, everything, and still interacting with people globally, so. We've got teams in Portugal, Spain, Italy, New Zealand, North America, you name it, there's Verizon Connect people all over the globe. So, we were still doing virtual sessions to obviously include everybody that were involved in any particular project. But definitely, as an architect, I definitely feel we lost that, a certain amount of that interaction and collaboration and sort of brainstorming type activity that we would normally do. So a lot of what we do in Verizon Connect and with engineering and with innovation, we have it on our hackathon posters, is about literally walking in, stopping, writing on one of those white walls behind you, writing on glass doors. You walk around the office and, there's the glass doors are written on, the walls are written on, everything is written on, there's post-its, there's posters, there's everything. And we definitely lost a bit of that because we weren't collaborating the same, and it's not the same in a virtual session. We were set up to do it, even with remote teams when we had prior to lockdown, because we had our, all the infrastructure we have in the office allows us to, have projectors, showing the walls and zooming in and, allowing teams who are not in the office, whether they're in Florence or Philadelphia, that they can still feel part of it. But when we were all at home, we definitely lost that because we lost some of the technology that we had in the office. So but we did notice in operations as well, where I was working at the start of lockdown, was, our productivity did sort of increase, maybe it's because we weren't standing around with the fancy coffee machines and the pool tables as much. But it was I think it was the time was transferred from collaboration and interaction and social interactions decreased. So therefore people were spending more time and longer hours probably,
in front of the screen,
doing writing code, fixing things, breaking things, doing whatever they needed to do, but definitely we did lose, I felt especially that we did lose that ability to brainstorm as well as you could, especially for a company that is like lives and breeds innovation, so
that's it. And I remember Nick Power, the Chief Technology Officer for anybody who doesn't yet know of Nick for Verizon Connect, he had spoken about getting back to some of our core principles and lean engineering and collaboration and innovation and doing innovation on purpose, right? And obviously the innovation love hack is a big part of that. Now, you were an instrumental part in working alongside people like Donal and so on to get it up and running, right?
Yeah. So my bit of advice is, because this was my second year being involved in the team running the hackathon, was next year, if you get added to a channel that's called Innovation Hackathon Organizers, just leave it, okay? Just leave it quickly, okay? Because, you know, and then just log out of Slack and then run and throw your laptop out the window, because it is a great thing to do, but it is like the amount of the engine behind a hackathon is amazing. You know, there are, you know, there was maybe 10, 15 of us who were like spending a significant amount of time on getting the hackathon up and running and making it happen and keeping it between the ditches, you know, because it's a huge piece of work. Like we had 60 plus 65, I think, submissions. We had 50 teams in the first round. That's teams of like between 4 and 8 engineers and sorry, not even engineers. I shouldn't say engineers, because the hackathon was global and it was across all of Verizon Connect. So we had
cross-functional teams, right?
Cross-functional teams. We had UX, we had sales, we had HR, we had engineers, obviously, we had product. You know, we had people from all sorts of parts of the business involved in the hackathon across the globe, from San Diego all the way across to our friends in Christchurch, you know. So it spanned the globe, and you know, multi-region, multi-function teams trying to hack over a period of 2 days to come up with an idea and then solve it, then present it back. And coordinating all of that was, you know, an amazing achievement. I think there was close to, I know, Alex, we had this number on a slide the other day. I think there was over 350 people involved across the company. So, you know, that's people. Amazing. Well, that's 700 days, because that's 700 days that we've invested in ad hoc innovation for, you know, across our business. So we've taken 700 days out of the business because it's people hacking for 2 full days by 350 people, you know. So it's a huge investment by the organization, you know. You could build a product in that time, but you wouldn't think of the same product. So, and the hackathons in the past as well, like it's all in, like, you know, it's a great session, you know, the whole, you know, the ideas people come up with and how they address them, and, you know, the presentations, the demos, because people are actually, you know, we obviously prefer seeing a working demo, and demos, the judging, the banter on the presentations, you know, that's nearly some of the best stuff. You know, and, you know, people interacting, people innovating, people collaborating, people working with others that they've never worked with before, and functions they've never worked with before. So people, you know, in UX,
extra points for that, right? Extra points for really building a cross-functional.
I said extra points there for a second, and I thought, where do I get that?
Friday. It's Friday.
Extra points for cross-functionality, yes. So you know, the more functions you had involved in your team, then you got some extra bonus points as well, and that's to encourage, again, collaboration and cross-functionality work, because we don't want 8 engineers on a team. You don't want 8 engineers together. You know, it does happen, but we want to try and encourage people to reach out and to get to work with other people. And you want UX people on your team, you know, because a lot of the ideas need something for the customers to see, and they know the stuff, and they know research, and they know customers, you know. So there is a lot there, but it was great. It was a great couple of weeks, but again, it's a huge amount. It's a huge engine behind it that gets it over the line. But it's core to everything we do as well. Like some of our products and some of our best-selling products, like video, essentially, have the nugget was sort of first formed in one of the hackathons over the last 2 or 3 years, and that's now one of our main product lines. So, you know,
so here's a question for you then, with that in mind. Now, I'm conscious. I have to put on my commercial compliance, do not give away top secret information hat now. So I'm conscious that we have an engine, as you say, that it's not just a bit of fun. We're not just having a bit of crack here. We're actually putting together teams, global CFT teams, who can ideate a next generation of products or services and so on for Verizon Connect. So my question that I'm going to put to you. Feel free not to answer it because we can't break any trade secret rules here. But what can you tell us about the finalists this year, or possibly the winner, as long as we're not talking about anything sensitive, that is?
Like the ideas, like the winning ideas aren't always about a new full product. You know, it's edge cases sometimes. It's come from customer feedback. It's come from research. It's come from pain points that, you know, we suffer ourselves internally. So, you know, obviously a lot of teams are into, like, certainly the way the economy is at the moment, a lot of things that the companies like us are focusing on or looking towards are obviously about, you know, efficiency and, you know, being more economical, you know, moving more towards, you know, supporting sort of, you know, green technologies and so on and so forth. So, you know, like, that's, if we weren't looking towards those things, you know, everyone would be looking at you going, why, you know? So a lot of the products or projects this year were in that space. The winning one was in the, I think, in the sort of efficiency green space, without giving too much away. But one of the, like, for instance, one of the winning projects last year as well is now in production, and it was an improvement essentially on the video experience. So instead of having to download big videos, you know, to review an incident or something like that, or an alert, it provided an animated low res version essentially, or lower download or quicker download speed, I suppose, to enable customers to see those things quicker and to process them quicker. So because, you know, all of our customers have teams of people managing the systems to, you know, react to incidents, you know, hard braking, speeding, whatever. So, and with the video products that we have now, then, you know, they want to be able to process them as quick as possible. Some of the projects, like, and some of the tools or features that teams came up with were like I was moderating or judging, and you're sitting there going, this is brilliant stuff, like, you know, why, you know. So they do as well. After the hackathons, they also assess all of the projects with the product managers, top to bottom, all 60 or 50 something projects, and go, okay, can we bundle these three together? Can we take this, actually this and this would work well together, and make actually, these are sort of two half features, you know, they didn't get out of round one, but actually, you know what, if we put these two together, that's something customers will want. So, and like, you got like Aaron Cave's team, you know, they love this stuff because it's coming out of engineers' brains, it's coming out of UX people's brains, sales people's brains, and it's a channel they don't regularly get access to or get the ideas from. So so the ideas are, like, they are literally quite innovative, you know. You know, they have that innovation at the heart of it, and you know, but
I love that.
Can't say any more, Padraig. We can't.
I know,
I've done my compliance, my code of conduct training about compliance and stuff. So, you know,
I know, that's it. But look, you can blame me. You can always blame me. Blame TA. TA got the blame for everything, so don't worry about that. I love that though.
We can blame Keith. Yeah,
I blame Keith. Yeah, absolutely. Who else? Hi, Keith. Yeah, I love that. When I did my MBA, I studied, in particular, I studied corporate entrepreneurship and did a lot of work, a lot of research into what that looks like across different companies, all the biggies, Google and other organizations that are global in nature. And the overriding trend amongst organizations that did innovation well was that there was a shared responsibility for it, right? So you can't just have people saying, here's a hackathon once a year, you have to do it, you have to take part, or boo, versus allowing for innovation time as part of your DNA and your culture, and following up on the global piece as well. Diversity of thought being the most important factor to it. And I have to say, observing you all on the hackathons and knowing how much time is put back by the organization into innovation, it's innovation done well. And the fact that we have commercial products coming out of it is testament to that, I think.
Yeah. Well, even though we had, like, our hackathon, you know, I honestly, it's a blur, Padraig. It's a blur. It's like going to a festival, you know. But the like Alex Lowry's team across Dublin and Italy and the various regions, they have regular innovation days. Alex looks after quite a large chunk of the business, and today is one of their innovation days. So it's not a hackathon, you know, but essentially they follow the same process, and it's I suppose it's a smaller version of it where, you know, they put in their ideas and they're working within their team and within their group. So that's like the field team, part of the reveal team, the video team, you know. So some of those groups are actually doing their own innovation day today, and they do that on I'm going to say every 2 months. They down tools for a day, you know, and they're always looking at what can they do, how can they improve, you know. And it's not just like, I always think of, you know, innovation, I think is always is one of these things nowadays. Everything's about innovation, you know.
I know.
Like I think of it as troubleshooting as well. And like and this is going to age me now, but there used to be a TV program called, I think it was called The Troubleshooter. It was Sir John Harvey Jones. And
okay.
he was called the troubleshooter, and he'd go into businesses and fix problems. But it was innovation. You know, he wasn't going in and going, yeah, that machine needs to be fixed, lads. You know, he was going in and looking at their processes, looking at their things. And my career guidance teacher, Marie, when I was repeating my leaving cert, because that was Last Chance Saloon as well, you know, she gave me a book about like all of those innovators, and Branson and John Harvey Jones, all these people like who were troubleshooters and innovators. And, you know, it's basically how everyone should be working. You know, it's how you develop your products. It doesn't need to be a bunch of people in an office and they're shipping out Post-its going, here's our next idea, fix this. You know,
I know.
It come from the ground up. So
yeah, I love it. I think it's brilliant. Well, look, I mean that it's part fun as well, and fun is a big feature of, as we know, just looking at your finely turned out suit today, that fun is a big part of life in Verizon Connect. But we have a really busy week. So you're the cloud guy, right? So I'm gonna come back to that in a second. But the cloud guy is arranging the AWS game day next week, right? So there's more fun there as well. But again, it's innovation and fun, and, you know, people getting together, socializing, troubleshooting. It's troubleshooting, right? And all of that good stuff. But before we jump to that, because the cloud guy is the guy arranging this, my question for you is, what does the cloud guy do? Why are you the cloud guy?
So first of all, the cloud guy is it's a joke. Obviously, I don't go around with the business card saying cloud guy.
No, I've seen the business cards.
So it stemmed originally from another activity that we had. Obviously, again, let's say 3 years ago. Let's think of when it might have been and add 2 years to it. Okay. So it felt like it was last year, but it was probably 3 years ago. And we had a table quiz in the office. So arranged by our fantastic Dublin-based quizmaster, Anne, who puts quizzes out all the time. So but we had a table quiz, and there was a set of photographs, and you had to name the people.
Yeah.
And one of the teams, because my picture was on it.
Yeah.
And one of the teams, none of them could remember my name.
Oh, perfect.
And they wrote underneath it. This person is a senior leader now at this point. I'd like to point out, and we have made up since then. Okay.
Okay.
It wrote under my picture, the cloud guy.
Brilliant. I love it. But it's a very accurate description.
Yeah. So technically, I joined as a cloud solutions architect 4 years ago. I had about 6 years experience in cloud computing and hosting, software as a service, you know, migrating into the cloud before I came to Verizon. What do I do? Technically, I am a cloud architect. What is that? It's a very, very vague, broad term. But a lot of what I do is working with AWS and our account management team. So we are essentially nearly all in on AWS from a Connect point of view. Okay, so that's out there. It's in it's in the press. It's on VerizonConnect.com. It gets mentioned, referenced by AWS on a regular basis. We're a big AWS house. All of our infrastructure, the last few bits and bobs are going into AWS at this moment, out of data centers and into AWS. So I suppose that's where it comes from. We have a big account. We have a big account management team who work for AWS. I liaise with the account manager, with the solution architects within AWS, the technical account managers, the TAM. We've a shed load of AWS accounts that across our environments and across our product set that we have to manage. We have to manage the spend in those accounts. We have to manage the governance, security, compliance, waste management, as I like to call it. So I always think of Tony Soprano and coming along to with his set of lads to put in the heavies and get rid of all the rubbish. So basically that is part of my job, and it's a lot of what happens. The other part of my job, which is meant to be the real part, is actually architecture, and that is working with our teams, our development teams, our product teams, our operations teams to come up with solutions or bring guidance to teams to get something across the line, get it into production. So design it, build it with the teams. So the teams obviously are the engineers, build the things, they are the builders, and getting it then through into production. And sometimes it can be a bit of a jack of all trades, a master of none, but it's a matter of bringing people together as well. It's sort of closer to at times it can be more of like a PM type role, or a sort of a sort of negotiation type role. So you're trying to bring in the SMEs. So like, I'm not an expert in networks. I'm going to go through all the things I'm not an expert in, and basically everyone will go, well, that's what the cloud is, isn't it? Like, I'm not a networks expert, or a Windows expert, or a storage expert, but we have people who are experts in all of those types of areas. We've got CI/CD teams, we've got build engineers, we got software developers across a range of languages. We have a huge team of DBAs who manage our production databases and put them through the whole life cycle. I don't pretend to be the expert in all these, but part of my job is to bring them together, make sure everything works together, and is, I suppose, the best solution that we can get done within the parameters we're working with. So whether that be trying to hit a timeline, or trying to hit some sort of migration, or trying to an integration with some other product, you have to basically bring them on that journey, and it is about bringing them all on a journey, to make sure we're all together. So again, I never claim to be an expert in any of those things, but I suppose part of it is, okay, well, it's bringing all the parties together and moving it along. So, and sometimes I draw pictures, it's the odd time.
On the walls.
Not on my own walls, thankfully, because they're painted
on. No, you come to work for that, right?
Yeah. I come and write on the painted walls in work. Yeah. So I suppose it is about forming technical strategy, and now as well, I suppose it's about working with teams as well. Like Verizon Connect, our engineering department, essentially Nick's group, we're part of Verizon. Okay, Verizon is a huge organization, we're part of what's called TPD, Technology and Product Development, I think it's called. And we also liaise then with our colleagues in like Blue Jeans. So we have Blue Jeans as an organization. We work with the Blue Jeans team, we work with the product teams, we work with Pact teams, we work with with loads of different Verizon teams and companies together to, I suppose, collaborate, work on best practice, make sure we're standardizing on tooling, figuring out how we can, as an organization, how can we, optimize the OpEx on the cloud? Because the big thing about cloud is it's very easy to spend money. Like I always say to people, I could probably spend $1 million tomorrow. Yeah. But I can't buy pencils without getting a PO.
Yeah.
So I have to get somebody to sign off pencils and pizzas.
Yeah.
But I can spend
that's because you fly at different altitude now these days, right? It's in the name.
On Amazon, it'd be great.
Yeah, there you go. So you bring up a really interesting point, and I don't want to labor it too much, but just to touch on it, the OpEx piece. I mean, when I'm hiring for you and Craig and the team, when my team are out talking to DevOps people, cloud engineers, and all of the various flavors, invariably, one of the things that we come across periodically is people who may have gotten into AWS technologies in their business and gotten involved in spinning it everything up, right, that the whole way through, and then it goes out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden their job turns from builder to almost a deconstruction expert, or at least reining in the costs, right? Because it can spiral out of control pretty quickly.
Yeah. What was that? Was there that movie, The Accountant, where, he was like an accountant, except he was like, had to go and save the world.
Flash Hitman.
Yeah. Terrible movie. Can we just edit that whole section out, please?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't want even to be known that I know of that movie.
This is where we zoom into your face.
Yeah. So look, you definitely get to the point where the spend needs to be managed. It needs to be controlled. The what's being built needs to be controlled, because it's very easy for teams. We give our teams great autonomy, which enables innovation. Okay, so you have to find the balance between a very rigid, small bottlenecked pipeline where everything goes through a set of controls and purchase orders and sign off and whatever else. Okay, and extreme innovation where continuous deployment, autonomy within teams. Each of our squads essentially has their own autonomy to work with their leaders internally, that all ultimately report up to Nick or Peter or John, but they have their own autonomy to build and deploy and productionize anything. Now, we would work with, the teams, obviously, we're constantly monitoring the overall spend. We're constantly monitoring where can we optimize. We work with, teams in AWS themselves. There's a cost optimization specialist who's assigned to Verizon, and she's based out of Seattle. We regularly liaise with her on email and on calls about, how can we optimize the spend. We invest in, tooling to, identify waste, and it can be hard. So it is a difficult process, in like, the great thing about AWS is that you literally, if you have a credit card, you can sign up and you can build and you can be in production in an hour. Okay. So it's an amazing thing, but it is also about control. And that's partly, I suppose, where the cloud architecture role has evolved, or the cloud economist, I suppose, is. There's a very
You're just inventing job titles left and right.
No. There's a guy on Twitter. His handle, he's called Corey Quinn, and he goes by Quinny Pig on Twitter, and he's a great guy to follow if you want a bit of crack and a bit of banter about AWS. I'll send it out to you later. Quinny Pig, yeah. But he has a whole. He sort of nearly created an industry around cloud economists, and it is about that, and it's gone into companies who have. They are literally like, because OpEx is people and cloud are OpEx.
Yeah, right.
So
on.
We are, we're pulling from the same bucket of money. The TA and the cloud. We want to build services. You want to hire people, and we need people to build the services. So the more that we find ways of optimizing our spend and of, as I say, waste management. It's there's no fancy way of putting it. It is like, if there's stuff being built and then abandoned and left in a corner, it's waste. Okay. So, we are constantly reviewing, whether things are built too big, whether they're built and abandoned, so there is, and with the company of our size as well, obviously there's a huge amount of stuff there. So tooling is also key to that. So having the right cost optimization and estate management tools, having things like, really boring things now, like everyone's favorite topic that they talk to me about is tagging. So, tag everything all the time. So, everything that you build in AWS should have a certain amount of tags in there to say, this was built by Padraig.carroll. He works in talent acquisition. That's who owns that thing. They built it. Okay. Why are they spending $5 million? Because all that stuff was built by them, and actually, you know what? They don't even use it anymore. But this is the key to Jeff Bezos going off to space. Okay, he is literally going to space on all of that waste. Okay, because people spin things up, they walk away. So it is a role, like that's part of my role, but it's essentially it's everyone's role. It's a bit like security is everyone's role, so is cost. It's about making sure we keep that under control. And you could easily find, and smaller companies and startups definitely, they end up spending an awful lot of money on AWS, and it hurts quickly, so
yeah, it can add up. And looking externally for a moment, I mean, the environment at the minute in terms of the global markets and tech stocks and so on. So a lot of OpEx pressure out there, a lot of OpEx pressure. So that means people like you will be very popular at the moment, right? Now, speaking of popularity, and I'm conscious of the time here, so we'll spend 1 minute, if you have it, on this. AWS Game Day next week. What's going down? We're going to be busy.
AWS Game Day. So again, because look, we're an enterprise customer of AWS, and we have a great team in AWS who does this, and works with us. So whether it be sort of deep dives or getting specialists in, the game day is something that we run on it would have been on a more regular basis only for the again the 2 years. So we the last game day we had was the .NET Game Day in November 2019, and our assigned architect from AWS at the time, Ronan, himself and his daughter made the trophy. I said I must send you that photograph. It was a unicorn on a piece of a motorbike, I think, on an old trophy stand.
Wow.
And again, so obviously it's not about the prizes, okay? It's about the glory, okay? So we invest time and money in like things like Cloud Guru, Pluralsight, all of these learning tools, okay?
The AWS pods,
which is great, because it helps people learn at their own pace. We also at times have put people on courses, but the courses as well are very, they're very, you're either going to enjoy it or you're going to hate it, or, because they're very sort of boxed off and it's very specific. So unless you're going out and spending a lot of money on customizing your own courses, and they're still never, because we have such a broad range of people, it's never really going to hit the right thing. The game day we ran in November 2019, I mean, we couldn't get people out of the room at the end. Like the AWS staff had left. And some of our team were, so the lovely glass wall or glass door there behind you, in a corridor, there was one of the teams was still writing up on the wall at the end, and like about what went wrong or something.
Post-mortem. They were doing the post-mortem there and then.
It was there and then. The thing was over. The prizes
that wasn't Shuba or somebody like that?
It was Suba, yeah. It was definitely Suba. It was definitely front and center, and it was like, so either how they could have won by more or why they didn't win. I can't remember which was, but I've got some great photographs of them, because of course when you take a photograph of people, against those glass walls, you can take it from the outside.
Yes.
So this is, and like, so we found the engagement and the feedback from the game days was amazing. Okay. Because they're aimed at getting a lot of people together and splitting them into small teams of say 3 in this case. So we're doing a security game day next Wednesday. Awesome. So we have about 65 people, so that's 21 and 2/3 teams. They'll be split into teams of 2 or teams of 3, and again, it's about collaboration and sort of having diverse teams. So you won't just be 3 of the AWS engineers together. It'll be a TPM and maybe an AWS engineer and maybe a developer. So we'll strategically make sure that the teams are well mixed. And teams of 3. There's then AWS will have 9 or 10 people on site with us that day, so they're committing 9 or 10 resources of their resources. They will be in the Dublin office with us, as well as a few of our leaders as well from the States who will be over that day as well. And it's a set then of competitive exercises. They're all given essentially their own little sandbox AWS account, and they're given a set of tasks, and you can gain points by completing activities. So you're given a set of challenges in the security space. In this case, you can gain points by getting things done, but then you can also start losing points. So your points can go up, but then they can equally go down. So they can start going down by, if you do something or you don't close off a security loophole quick enough after a certain amount of time, say you don't fix that issue after an hour, then you start losing 5 points every few minutes, and then 5 points, and then another 5 points, and then so it's essentially a competition between all the teams. They're all given the exact same tasks. They're all given the same tools. They've no special superpowers.
Level playing field.
Yeah. Level playing field. So the AWS team will be there on hand as well. The 8 or 9 or 10, whoever it is, are coming in that day, will be there on hand as well to help. We'll have the scorecards. We'll put up projected. So they have a live running scorecard as well, because it's all an automated engine. It's a game day engine that they have in AWS, where they run it for security, for .NET. They've had other ones in other spaces. It's a service that they essentially provide, and as an enterprise customer, we get this essentially as part of our BAU. And at the end, then, as the day goes on, we'll be able to see the leaderboard, and there will be prizes at the end. I can't reveal what they are.
Exciting! You have to show up to learn that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's prizes, I think, for the first 3 teams. So the first prizes, most people normally covet the prizes for second and third, because let's say we're getting into sort of the gimmicky type prizes at that level, okay? Rather than actually something useful and nice. But yeah. So, and there'll be lots of swag. Obviously, we've demanded there be swag, there'll be stickers.
Oh, good. The TA team will definitely show up and
exactly. The great
is there pizza though? Is there pizza?
Great news is I am again meant to be arranging pizza. Okay, so there will be pizza. Yeah, I don't know if I can. Clouds I can handle. Pizza orders, as we know, are not our speciality over our last few weeks.
I've heard that.
Most of the photographs of pizza are with your team eating pizza. So
correct, and we enjoyed it.
So we're presuming you're taking part then, if you're going to touch our pizza, yeah? That's
we will definitely act as cheerleaders on the day,
yes.
And that's
cross-functional.
So we cross-functional cheerleaders.
Yeah. We have a whole wing of the office basically booked out, rather than people being all over the building. We have a wing of the building booked out. We've got some collaboration spaces there. We've got our whiteboards, we've got our projectors. We'll have the AWS team on hand. We'll go for pizza. We'll come back then and start the second half of the game day in the afternoon. And then there's, right to the end, there will be, the rolling scorecard will be projected around the place. And then there will be, eventually, when things get stopped, then we'll see who the winners are. So, but again, it's about learning and it's about collaborating. So it's you're working on a set of tasks. In this case, as I said, in the security space, about keeping your data and your accounts and your systems secure, because anyone, like any good architect, will know all about security by design. You build your security in at the bottom layer, and you work up from that. So it's about making people more conscious of security, and not just going through a textbook education course that anyone can do off the shelf, because there's a lot of courses nowadays are either just very paper based or slide based, or they're copy and paste courses, as I call them, where it's like, copy these lines of code into this terminal window and hit enter. Okay, but you didn't learn anything. So whereas the game days, you're like you've got fingers on keyboards, you're typing, you're you're asking for help, so it's great.
It's something that bridges that gap between theory and practitioner ultimately. Yes. I mean, MOOCs and those kind of things are awesome, and they have their place in the world, but they are formulaic, and they take away subjective nuance, and so that's.
And I think we found as well, like that, as great as it is to see so many people with certifications and coming in with certifications now, certifications nowadays in cloud are so easy to get, okay? But experience is hard to get. So, it's about finding the balance. And a lot of our teams as well would get more experience and more exposure. And this allows us as well to let people who don't normally have exposure to, in this case, security or cloud security, to be involved and to actually see the gang at work and trying to solve problems. And they learn then, and then they bring that, whether they be a TPM or a product manager or whatever they might be, they can then go, actually, now I understand this a bit better. And they don't need to know, this is the command to close off a firewall rule in AWS. Okay, they don't need that, but they go, oh yeah, I could have done this, or they could do that. Have they thought about that? So overall, it improves our security posture in this case, and makes our lives easier. Because certainly, as I don't like security contacting me about something being wrong in an AWS account. So if they could fix all that in the ground up,
happy days.
Yeah. So look, it's going to be a great day. As I said, it's going to be probably the biggest event we've had in the office since lockdown.
3 years, right?
Yeah.
3 years, I guess now. Yeah.
Because we've got like 65, 70 people who are involved in taking part and running it. There's going to be some of your gang in. There's going to be the leaders are in. There's going to be lots of other people from other teams in as well, because they're making use of, their teams being in to have, team days and all that, and maybe half their team is working. Because obviously we can't just down tools by everybody. We still need to support the business, and some people still need to make sure that the infrastructure is alive, and that production is still alive. So but yeah, there will be a lot of people in the office. It should be a great buzz, and may the best team win.
Very good. Well, Mr. Brian Murray, aka the Cloud Guy, thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us today. I really appreciate it. Can't wait for next week now. It's going to be exciting, and I hope you will wear the suit on the day as well.
I thought you were going to mention pizza again. Oh.
Well, look, at this stage we're losing faith, but anyway, we'll see what happens on the day. Either way,
I was going to pick the pizza up on the way into work and then eat it myself, because it might be easier.
It might be easier, yeah. It might be. All right. Thanks a lot, Brian. Talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. All right. Bye-bye. Okay, folks, there you go. That was an amazing conversation with Brian Murray. And just so that nobody forgets, let's take a look at that suit again. Brian is a phenomenal talent, and an amazing human being, great sense of humor, and a very important piece of the puzzle in Verizon Connect, in particular when you consider what's going on out there in the world and OpEx pressures that every business has now. There's a change in the landscape out there. So look, if you are interested, we're still hiring. We're hiring away. We're building our technology teams. And we're looking for people with cloud experience. As you heard, AWS, we're an enterprise customer. So we're still hiring. And if you want to come and work with us and work with an amazing human such as Brian on our products and systems that go into AWS, into the cloud, I think we're almost 100% cloud native now, 100% in AWS, thereabouts. It's a massive opportunity to really learn what the cloud is at an enterprise level. So come work with us. As always, like and comment below, share it if you know AWS people further afield. We hire people globally, as far away as places like India, Singapore, Brazil, doesn't matter. We want to hear from you. So like, comment, share with your connections, tag. You can email any of us in the TA team at any stage, and we'll come back to you straight away. So as always, I'm going to leave you now with our Credo video, and we will see you next week.
From where we work to where they live. From our technology to supporting theirs. From each and every one of us to each and every one of them. Everything we do affects everything they do. That's why how we work, what we believe, our values make all the difference.
We share our success with the community
to make the world in which we work better than it was yesterday.
We keep our commitments to each other and our customers.
We know teamwork enables us to serve our customers better and faster.
We focus outward on the customer,
not inward.
Our actions produce measurable results.
We run to a crisis, not away.
We are committed to doing the right thing.
This is our credo. Our guide to what really matters. How we stay connected to each other and to them. We are Verizon.